Colombia has a cocaine problem, too much of it. Elon Musk has volunteered to donate his sperm to colonize Mars. And police in Southern California are warning of hugging robbers. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian inside a closet. Here we go! Colombia has too much cocaine, guys, and it's affecting their economy. Look, I just want you to know I had nothing to do with this, okay? I've done my part. I've participated in the consumption of certain things that come from Colombia. You know what I mean? I'm a humanitarian. I'm a humanitarian. I care about the villages in Colombia. I want to support. It says, for decades, one industry has sustained this very small, remote Colombian village called Cano Cabra. And this industry is the cocaine industry. I guess they're focusing on this one particular community. Those people who live here in the central part of the country, they get up early in the morning, every morning, to pick the cocoa leaf. They scrape the brittle branches, sometimes until their hands bleed. Oh, terrible. Later, they mix the leaves with gasoline and other chemicals to make chalky white bricks of cocoa paste. Gasoline up my nose? Today I learned. Gasoline up my nose all this time. 2 years ago, though, the villagers here in Cano Cabra became alarmed because something happened. The drug traffickers who buy the cocoa paste and turn it into cocaine stopped showing up to their village. Suddenly, people who were already poor had no income at all. Food became scarce. An exodus to other parts of Colombia in search of jobs followed. The town of 200 people shrunk all the way down to 40. I'm just wondering, why didn't they just pivot and plant food for a bit? I mean, I don't know. That's in the business world. Sometimes you got to just pivot. Yeah. Got to pivot, man. Plant some corn. Plant some grape leaves. And kumquats are nice. They probably grow very well down there. I'll bet you mangoes in Colombia would be a real hit, you know. Let's keep reading, though, and find out. Maybe they don't have. Maybe they only know how to grow one thing down there. I don't know. I don't want to make any prejudgments. That's not what we're about here on Weird AF News. We want to learn a little bit. It says, sadly, this same pattern has repeated itself again and again in communities and villages across the country where coca is the only source of their income. Colombia is the global nexus of the cocaine industry, in case you're living under a rock and didn't know that. They're facing tectonic shifts now as a result of domestic and global forces that are reshaping the drug industry. The changing dynamics have led to blocks of unsold coca paste piling up all across Colombia. The purchase of the paste in more than half of the country's coca-growing regions has dropped precipitously or disappeared completely, spurring a humanitarian crisis in many remote and impoverished communities across Colombia. Well, sounds like we need to send some volunteers down there to help with this issue. People that can consume that coca paste. I don't know. What can you do with that coca paste? Can you just put it on your PB&J, and C, peanut butter jelly and cocaine on 2 pieces of bread? That sounds lovely. Yeah, but send some volunteers, sort of like the Peace Corps. You know, except we'll call it the Sniff Corps. I got some awesome ideas, is what I'm saying, guys. You put a problem in front of me, even a global issue like this, I'm on it. This is my moment to shine, guys. I know what to do with the cocaine. I know what to do. Now, it says, sadly, at least 55% of the coca-growing regions in Colombia have seen coca sales plummet tremendously. And like many rural communities, Cano Cabra has no government presence, is controlled by an illegal armed group. There is no electricity, no running water, no public school either. Oh, it sounds like this was a little pop-up community established by, you know, the mafia down there that are controlling the drugs, and so now they're just left to their own devices. All they know is the coca. That's all they know. They were taught how to grow coca, and that was it. That's very, very sad. Some experts say this transformation of the cocaine industry could lead coca plant growers to transition to legal ways of making a living. Many worry that farmers could instead switch to other illicit activities to make up for it. Well, didn't the dairy industry have a situation when there was too much dairy and they just dumped it in the streets? They just dumped it in the sewers. They could just do this with the cocaine. Just dump the cocaine into the gutters. And you'd see some very excited rats running around. Is that a rat doing push-ups? What is that? I think the rat ate the coca paste. Now, I can speak from experience here in the States that there has definitely been a decrease in the demand for cocaine from what I've seen. And that's because people are dying from it because cocaine is being cut with fentanyl these days. I recently lost an acquaintance. I'm going to say right before I left for Asia, a young man named Van, who was a friend of mine. We lost Van to fentanyl-laced cocaine. Shout out to Van. May he rest in peace. So that's a huge problem. That's going to definitely lower demand. Someone needs to get a hold of that situation for sure. And, well, sadly, these villages are going to have to push through during this surplus stage. Maybe it'll make a comeback. And prepare yourself, though, cocaine industry, because once Keith Richards dies, you're going to have even more of a surplus. Elon Musk, father of 12, offers his own sperm to colonize Mars. This guy just volunteers his sperm a lot, it seems, especially at the office. I mean, that's what the lawsuit says anyways. Yes, apparently Mr. Elon Musk, one of the richest individuals in the world and someone with the biggest ego you might meet, he's reportedly offered his own sperm to scientists to help colonize Mars in an attempt to fulfill his lifelong goal of inhabiting the distant planet. Man, how many children that won't speak to him does this dude need? I guess he just wants to pay child support on 2 planets. You know, he has that much money. When you're that rich, you can pay child support throughout the entire galaxy. Why stop at Earth? Now, Mr. Musk has fathered 12 children already, 6 with his first wife, Justine Wilson, one of whom died in infancy, 3 with former girlfriend Grimes, and 3 with top Neuralink executive Siobhan Zillis. I didn't realize he had so many. I knew he had a bevy of kids, but I didn't know how many. In the past, Elon has said it would take between 40 and 100 years for inhabitants of Earth to colonize the planet Mars, but SpaceX employees told the media that Musk now wants 1 million people to be living on the planet in about 20 years. That's very ambitious. 1 million people. Difficult because of that, the radiation and that deadly space dust and the no oxygen, the no gravity. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. Bone density is an issue up there. You lose it. In case you don't know, no human being has even been to Mars, and NASA has stated it does not expect people to make it to Mars until the 2040s. But Elon seems to want to defy the estimations of some of the world's top scientists. In May, Musk wrote that it will be less than 10 years before we land people on Mars. There may be a city on Mars in 20 years, but for sure, in 30 years, there will be a city on Mars. For its part, NASA claims the air on Mars is not possible to breathe at all, meaning it is unsustainable for humans. 1 million people on Mars in the next 20 years is a bit of a stretch, but the media has reported that Elon has stated he wants to die on planet Mars. Okay. Well, why wait? Let's let him wank in a bag and get on up there, buddy. What are you waiting for? Nobody's stopping you. Apparently, Musk says he envisions residents on the planet Mars very soon driving a version of the steel-paneled Cybertrucks made by Tesla. All right, so, I mean, he wants to colonize Mars to sell cars, it sounds. It's a good reason to do it. Wow. Mars is going to be the most dystopian future you can imagine. A bunch of Elon drones driving around Tesla trucks. Those trucks are so annoying, by the way. When I see one, I'm just like, ew. Anybody else, when you see a Tesla truck, just, ew. I know I don't like that person that is driving that truck. I just know it. I don't know how I know it. I just got a feeling about it. In fact, I'd be pretty cool if you just sent everybody who owns a Tesla truck to Mars. They can all hang out with Elon and his autistic master race that he's going to be building up there. Is that too mean? Nah. Police in Southern California warn of hugging robbers. Yeah, the old hug and mug. You heard of that? Not to be confused with the old hug and tug. In this case, hugging doesn't lead to the tugging. It's a hug and mug, or a squeeze and steal. You could call it a squeeze and steal. It's an old school move. All right, let's get some details about these hugger muggers. While 2 people have been arrested in connection with an attempted robbery in Orange County earlier this month, authorities are warning Southern Californians to be vigilant of approaching strangers who appear to want a hug. Well, what if the person's sexy that wants a hug? You know what? I'm going to turn down a sexy hugger. You know, I'm going to turn down a sexy mugger. That's on me. That's my decision. I mean, I'm lonely enough to take this risk, is what I'm saying, I think. Deputies with the Orange County Sheriff's Department responded to a residence in Rancho Santa Margarita. I don't know where that is, but it sounds delicious. Rancho Santa Margarita. Everybody's wasted. Everybody's been drinking margarita. Amazing. The victim reported the robbery attempt. Here's how it went down. A male driver parked his vehicle in front of his driveway. A female passenger exited the car, approached the victim with arms out for a hug, and then attempted to forcibly rob him of a gold chain around his neck. This is a little odd that you would stick around for this. Someone pulls up in a car in front of your driveway. You have no idea who they are. You don't recognize the car. You don't recognize them. They approach you with arms out, and you're not running back into your house. I don't know. That would be my move. Run into the house. Stick around for a hug. Are you okay? Based on the description provided by the victim, it was determined that the same suspects were possibly involved in some similar huggings and robbings in Orange County and surrounding areas. It says here that a suspect vehicle search yielded approximately 50 pieces of jewelry belonging to different victims. Wow, they've robbed so many people with the old hug and mug move. I'm so surprised that people are falling for that. Listen, guys, if a stranger wants to hug you in the U.S., you run away. What are you talking about? In a major city like Los Angeles, especially, just get out of there. This isn't Japan where you could just, take a hug from a stranger and you're going to live through it. There are countries where they don't murder and rob people. Believe it or not, I've visited these places. It's unbelievable. In Thailand, most of the police, you know what they spend their time doing? Making sure you don't bring smelly durian onto the train. That's where they spend most of their time because there's hardly any crime going on there. And that's not a wealthy country. It's just people respect each other. People respect life. They're actually lovely. Officials are urging people to remain cautious of strangers approaching you for any reason. Yeah, I thought we already got the memo on that. That's been going on for many years now. Strangers approaching you for any reason. You just get out of there is what you do. If you got to use a taser, you got to use it. You got to use it. You shouldn't carry anything valuable on you either when you're just roaming around the streets of Los Angeles, I would say, or any major city in the U.S. You could pull a fast one on these hugger muggers, though. Have no valuables on you at all, and when they go to hug you, you just bear hug them really hard. You give them a nice squeeze for a long, long time, and just don't let go. Don't let them go. And just when you're about to detach yourself from the hugging mugger, give him a little kiss on the cheek, and be like, my kisses are better than gold, baby. Hey, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News Podcast. Thanks for spending some time with me in this episode. I apologize for the additional noises that you may have heard. You most likely heard. It's the roofers that are right above me putting on an entire new roof to my apartment. This is going to be going on for at least a week and a half, so just FYI. I'm doing the best to try. I tried to time my recording off for their lunch break today, but it doesn't seem like they took one, so I don't know if that plan's even going to work. And I would wait until they leave, but it's too late in the day. I mean, this is late enough when I record these things. Anyways, if you haven't subscribed yet to the show, please consider doing so on whatever platform you're listening. If you would like to help out by leaving me a review, you can give me 5 stars on Spotify. That would be super helpful if you're listening on Spotify. That would be amazing. If you'd like to email me, it's funnyjones@gmail.com. Feel free to send me stories that you come across that you think are appropriate for the podcast. I'm still just want to give you a heads up on I've interviewed some interns recently, and so if anyone else wants to throw their hat in the ring and be an intern for Weird AF News, I'm looking for an intern for 6 months. Please be familiar with all aspects of social media. Very helpful. I'm going to be looking for someone who can help me expand the audience and reach of the show, and someone who's would be down to help obtain sponsorships or advertisers for the show. Those are the skills and others that I'm looking for. Not looking for any technical sound editing or anything like that. I know a lot of you are into the sound editing. Some of you have your own podcast. I don't need help with any of the technical stuff. Just these other tasks that I've mentioned. Lastly, if you'd like to support the show, please go to weirdafnews.com, the official website of Weird AF News, where you can join the Patreon or buy a coffee or do any of those nice things that show support and generosity for the Weird AF News show. That's as far as I know, the only daily weird news podcast that's recorded inside a closet 5 days a week. All right, that's about enough out of me. Hope you have an amazing day. Bye.